Slow, time moves fast. In this dance we call the past. Mental health, a fragile thread, but we'll find strength. Let love spread. Life's a climb. Just take a step, rise above. Find your breath in the darkness. We will find a shining light to free our mind. To free our mind. Self-growth blooms like petals bloom, shedding tears will heal the wounds and the chaos. Let's find peace, embrace the flame, let it release.
Relax your mind. It's divine time. Hello to all. How y'all doing? This is another episode of Divine Time. Welcome to Divine Time Podcast, a space where we explore the depths of spiritual growth, life's most profound lessons, and the true purpose of love. I'm your host, Donnelly Divine, and I invite you to join me on a journey of introspection and discovery. Together, let's explore the beauty of spiritual growth, the wisdom hidden in life's challenges, and the transformative power of love. Let's just go ahead and get straight into it. I've been doing an experiment. I wouldn't even call it an experiment. I've been doing a series this month where I was like, you know what? I want to hear the different ideas of what husband material is. Next month, I'm going to pick it up with what is wife material. Last week, we covered the men. This week, we're covering the women. Next week, we're going to cover, I'm going to have some men and some women on there so that way we can converse, and that way the men can actually engage with the women and vice versa, so that way we can be like, okay, cool, understand the different ideas of what it is that a man's supposed to do as a husband. And then I'm gonna do the same thing when it comes down to the women. But with that, I want to go ahead and roll straight into it. So who wants to answer first on their opinion of what husband material is? It's okay, you ain't got to all jump at once.
I guess I'll go. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I'll go. Husband material without hurting people's feelings.
You don't want to get in the box. There we go. Go ahead.
Hurt the feelings.
You said hurt the feelings. There's a lot in that. First, you should be a partner. Okay, that's where the whole dating thing comes in. You should be a partner. Learn how to operate around each other. Second is you have to be able to lead and take constructive criticism. Like we want to say women don't want to be submissive, but if you can't lead, then what is going to follow you? Should be able to lead. The constructive criticism, you have to be able to give and take direction.
That part.
It's one of those, it's my way or the highway going the wrong direction. There are some common misconceptions though. Being a provider, yes, but in this day and age, it's not required. It's to say because we have more of a even role. Okay, you have a partner now. It's more partner. Share the load. Share the load. Unless that's not your dynamic, because it also depends on your relationship dynamic.
Okay. I like that. Anybody else want to chime in? They want to speak their what husband material is to them?
All of the above stated things plus a good team player. You need to be a good team player. Life is a journey and a sport. So everybody
like that.
not on your team. So I definitely, if we're gonna be together, you better be on my team. There's no need for us to be together and you playing on somebody else's team. That makes everything in life counterproductive. Um, again, with being able to lead and follow directions, and I would also say be humble. They need to be humble. They need to be gracious. Um, there's a lot of things that fold into those. Um, they need to know their opportunity. They- the labor market. It, it's hard to profess yourself to be in a relationship, let alone a marriage, and you don't know the inner workings of the person that you're with. You and your spouse should be able to have a conversation in a room full of people without nobody knowing exactly what you said if your lips moved at all. Y'all should have an eyeball conversation. Y'all should have your own language. Because when it's time to go, it's time to go. Um, the list goes on, but I'll feed off of somebody else because I
Anybody want to go next? Sorry for the noise in the background. The TikTok is being shared. So with it, we are also live on TikTok to where anybody's able. As people speak, you'll hear voices come in the background. It's going to be other individuals tapping in as well. So letting y'all know heads up on that. Okay. Dolly, Queenie, this is
Well,
y'all.
Dolly, you want to go first? Because as the unmarried person, it's gonna go last. But do you want me to go or do you want to go?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So, and to me, what I think what makes a good husband is a man who is enterprising, first of all, because realistically, I know of, you know, not have understanding like generational wealth and needing to pass that on and more than just knowledge, like tangible things is very important to me. Um, so enterprising, a man who is ambitious, that accompanies that enterprising behavior because you can have all the ideas in the world, but if you don't have motivation to go get it, it's gonna come to nothing. So you got to be able to execute. Um, a man who understands um, how the world actually works. And what I mean by how the world actually works is that he understands that the patriarchy exists. He understands that, the patriarchy hurts him. I need him to be understanding of social issues because that is something that is, well, personally, that's subjectively for me because that's important to me. But I think for all women, men should be enterprising and ambitious. But and all men too, just who any husband needs to be enterprising and ambitious. Okay. And I also think that a good husband knows how to effectively communicate and, as they said before, operate as a partner because I'm a human. Not even if you were able to afford to take care of me, I'm still a human with a brain inside of my head. So, while even if I am a kept woman, having a partner who communicates with me and does things with me, and if I need assistance, is willing to, or if they need assistance, they're willing to ask me for it since I'm their partner. Because there are that I've heard men in this world who they fear to burden their wives with certain things, and it's like, bruh, I'm in this bed with you for life. We can't be on the streets. And so that, and also just a man who constantly chases growth in one way or another, because um, there are multiple forms of wealth, and like your mental health is one of them. Your physical health is one of them. So a man that constantly wants to grow, and even if it's not, economically, it could be intellectually or emotionally. He wants to grow and become better as a person. And mm,
You got it.
I
Don't
think
let it
that,
slip.
no, because I don't, no, I'm gonna just leave it off there.
Okay, well, hey, you already know it's a safe space. We can touch up on that later on. When I'm sure at some point the time will be perfect for you to say it. So it'll probably tie into
Mm,
something else that somebody else may say. So if not, go ahead
Probably
and say it.
no, it's
Okay,
okay.
well, we'll let Dolly say what her idea of husband material is, and then I'm reaching back around to you. Yeah, I'm not gonna leave you with a hanging thought. We gonna Dolly.
You're okay. So, what is husband? Good God Almighty! What is husband material? I'm gonna say first and foremost is a man who knows his identity.
Okay.
Okay. Now I say that. Can you go over there, please, for like 5 minutes? Okay, here, hold on. Bye. Thank you. Sorry, Crumb Snatcher woke up from a nap.
You
Um,
good?
a man who knows his identity, and I say identity as far as who he is, what he wants in life, the things he wants to succeed in, the things that he wants in his wife, for his family, things like that nature, not in a conceited or full of himself way,
Mm-hmm.
but um, like like Mama said, humble in a humble way. Because if you're able to be a man who is humble, then your wife is going to match that same energy. She's going to submit to you because you know who you are and you're strong in what you believe in. And we can sense that. Um, a man who is loving and who's empathetic. If you are loving and you're empathetic, then that allows us to be safe and secure. If we don't feel safe and secure as a woman with our man, that's a problem. Then we're not going to be able to submit under that man, and the household is not going to function properly. Being able to show emotions, um, being able that goes with communicating. If we can't hold a conversation and it's an intellectual conversation and there's anger and built up frustrations, then we're not going to be able to get anywhere. Communication is key to any relationship. Um, and so it's important to be able to have emotional intelligence to have that conversation with your spouse to be like, sweetheart, I don't like when you do X, Y, and Z. It makes me feel like A, B, C, D. And then CJ. Um, and then I would say one who's open and honest. Honesty is key because honesty leads to being able to be trusted. If you're not trustworthy, then that's a big issue because trust opens up a whole nother window, a whole nother doorway. Yo,
Hi, Lexi. Thank you for joining in.
not right now. And I think that is again, it opens up other doorways, other issues down in a relationship. Speaking of which, I think another thing that's makes a man husband material, I'm gonna say, is being able to admit when you're wrong, being able to accept when you're not always right, being able to compromise. That is
Mhm.
vital. Being able to, so yeah, that's what I think so far. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be
Okay.
more as we go along.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be more as we go along as well. The point that I want to do here is men and women, we both have our ideas of what husband material is, what wife material is, and there are relationships where individuals don't really discuss that before getting married about okay, what the man's expectations of a wife is or what a woman's husband expectations of a husband are. So it's like now the guy is oftentimes doing what he feels that husband material is, which may not fall in line with what the woman expects it husband material to be or what a husband should do, and then vice versa. And that's why I kind of got the idea to do this series for the podcast, because it allows all of us to speak on what we feel or what we were taught, what our role would be as a spouse, as a partner. So I was like, going into that, we can hear all the different viewpoints from the ladies, from the guys, and then how I said, like towards the end of that actual topic, I want to have it to where we have some men and some women come together so we can actually talk it out and be like, okay, cool. So is this a bad idea? Or okay, so something like this would be, would this seem like a compromise type deals where, so let me go ahead and roll straight into this. I want to ask Mrs. Sigma Una, what is one of the biggest problems you've seen in a relationship when it comes to men and women? I have to specify that. Communication. Now, wouldn't the go ahead?
Communication is at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has misconceived notions that everybody can read somebody else's mind. But if you didn't say it, they didn't hear it. You could have thought it, but if it didn't come out your mouth, they didn't hear it. And if you said it and they didn't hear it, they didn't understand it. So again, that comes with speaking the same language. Sometimes you got to pull out that
thesaurus and show me this. Let me stop. I agree there. I agree. I'm sorry. Like when you said it, sometimes you pause. Kendrick Lamar popped in my head. I was like, oh, but no, seriously, I agree. Because I mean, it's funny today.
You got to go back to the bill on Capitol Hill. I mean, literally.
It's interesting. I find it interesting because there's a lot of individuals, and a lot of times I have people end up reaching out to me and talking to me, and they're talking about relationship problems, and a lot of it falls down to communication. Now, how do you feel that communication can be brought about in a relationship? Do you feel that there is the man should engage in communication, the woman should engage in communication? Do you think that whenever you feel a type of way, it should be brought up? Like is there a correct way? I'm asking you because you have the most experience in a relationship. Like,
okay, so let's go back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a marriage, but how did the marriage come together? Is it bride focused on a wedding and then everything, and the man has said, well, I got married, now the work is done? Because that's a whole nother problem in itself. There are relationships that are built towards a man ultimately getting a wife and a woman actually having a wedding, and then they don't know what to do after that. The problem is they didn't go into that relationship or wedding or partnership with a plan. A marriage is a business. Okay. If it's not profitable, if it's not uplifting one another, then ultimately it's going to fail because you've got one pouring into the other one and the other one not getting fulfilled. That causes problems because, again, they're not meeting each other's needs, whether it be social, economical, physical, whatever that is. It's going to cause problems. So to go into a relationship, a marriage, a partnership with a plan, what do we want to accomplish? What do we want to have? How do we want to accomplish those things? What are go no-goes? What are you willing to concede? What are you not willing to concede? All of those things are important because you can start the day in the marriage with having a plan of having a house, the certain cars, and the kids. But if somewhere along the line something comes up and all of a sudden you can't have kids, is that a deal breaker? Okay. And if we can't do it ourselves, is adoption an option, or is fostering an option? All of those are conversations that need to be had before you sign that piece of paper saying that you are going to attach this person for the rest of your life. If you haven't had those conversations, and if you can't see or talk into a future with a person, that's probably not the person you need to be with, because there's no future with that person. There's no plan for a future with that person. So communicate a plan, build a business. You should go into a marriage with a business plan. As crazy as that sounds.
I agree completely there. It should be something that's talked about. Like, okay, where do you see us going? Where do you see us going? How do you see our life going? I feel like that's a question that should be asked, so that way y'all can have an end goal and then take steps to accomplish the things that you're trying to reach. Because otherwise it really is just hey, I love you too, day by day, step by step. What are we doing
Y'all
here?
end up being that old couple off living color, and we still together, still trying to kill each other. It just doesn't make it. It can be fun if you want to fly by the seat of your pants, and that's the type of relationship that you have. If you guys met jumping out of a plane, that might be the thing for you. It's the next big thing. But as you get older, you will realize that the next big thing is not going to be the other person's next big thing. Somebody's going to be tired of jumping out of planes and climbing mountains and doing things before the other.
Anybody got anything to add before I start calling y'all out?
I do.
Who is that?
Your sister.
Oh, okay. Hey, sister. Where you at? There you are. Go ahead.
Get my words together. So I like what was just said. I just wanted to add to that in a sense.
Okay.
Because for me, it's hard to see a marriage as a business plan. I see it more as, this is why. Let me explain it this, and then I'll explain something else.
Mhm.
When you get married, typically people take vows, right? And those vows are typically, they come out of a specific book, but those vows are literally saying, I'm going to weigh out the storm. I'm paraphrasing. Weigh out the storm through sickness, through health, whatever we go through, I'm going to rock it out with you, is what we pretty much are saying. You know, whether we poor, broke, living on the street, I'm still going to be here with you because I take this vow, and that's what I said I'm going to do. So when doing that, it kind of moves from the language changes to more of a covenantal agreement. I'm in covenant with you because you know what? I said I do. Versus a contractual agreement where if this don't go right, I'm out. If you're in covenant with somebody and you think about a covenant, when you have a covenantal agreement, it's kind of hard to back out of that. And I think nowadays, that's why a lot of younger folk really don't get married, because the understanding of what a marriage really is something that's not really laid out. For me personally, I'm on my second marriage. My first marriage, I got married when I was 18. I didn't know what I was doing because nobody never told me what the ins and outs of a marriage was. And then this particular relationship, I didn't go into my marriage with having a plan, because that's not something that's really taught to people when you go, when you become an adult and you start to look at stuff like that. So people enter into a marriage under a covenant, not a covenant, a contractual agreement versus that covenantal agreement. Now having that understanding, I look at things a little differently, because it's like, yeah, you go through things. Yeah, I messed up because I should have did premarital counseling to understand what this person's quirks were, to understand what, you know, their childhood trauma was, because those are things that follow into that marriage. You have to truly understand who somebody is before you enter into a marriage. Dating somebody is different than when you marry them. When you marry somebody, that role switches. And that's why I'm saying when you're dating boyfriend, girlfriend, that's more contractual. You can do what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you know what? I don't like the fact you leave your drawers on the floor. I'm done with you. You can do that. In a marriage, you can't do that. People do those things. I don't like the fact that you're dirty, so I'm going to divorce you. No, that's not how that works. So when the language changes and we change the way we look at it, then that's when our position on the type of relationship that we're entering into is going to change, and the way that we interact with our partner, with our family, is going to change, because we understand that it's not just boyfriend, girlfriend, or fiance, or we're just smashing, or you're just my Friday night hit it, quit it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm being real. I'm being real. Like, we're all not married up here. I'm sure the language I'm using is language that we've used. I've used it in the past. So I'm just saying, like, I just feel it's different. There's a big difference there.
Can we curse?
I mean, I would hope
We
that we're not sitting here and dropping a song to where every other word is a bleep. So, I mean,
Well, no, I
sometimes I
was
understand.
just okay. Oh, okay. No, I was just asking because I mean, I know that depending on the platform you're on, like it's certain things you can't say, like with you being on TikTok, certain words you can't say. So that's why I was wondering, like, can we curse? Because my favorite word is fuck. I love to say fuck, like in everything. And I was just wondering because when I come on your podcast, I be trying to keep it PG as hell, don't it? Like for all intents and purposes, I do, don't I, y'all now? But that's not. So I was just like, can I say fuck? But
Oh,
okay, I was just wondering. But I personally, I mean, I guess when you look at it as a covenant,
mhm.
then that is one thing because I also look at marriage as a business contract. Like you're just a person that I basically like want to go into business with and fuck and enjoy life with for the rest of my life. Like, but it's still a business contract because if you don't uphold your end of the bargain, I will abandon you.
Mm.
So because people change in marriages, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if it's all great and gravy,
exactly.
and then 10 years down the road, you start getting crazy, think you're gonna put your hands on me, and it's like, dang, now I gotta cook you that special dinner, and now I gotta
Bruh.
send you your great great grandma. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, so it's either leave or that. You see what I'm saying? So
But she
it
said
like,
they said till death.
And you say till
yeah,
death.
to death.
That's in the
And
contract.
I'm just gonna I'm making the appointment to meet your I'm making the appointment. That's all. Because there are instances where people change. Like there are times where if men who are the sole providers in their homes, they lose their jobs, they get down. And even though they have that support, they don't get back up. You see what I'm saying? They stay down or they just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna just go work, this construction job, sir. You came from a 200K job. You cannot go to 40 or 50 or 60K like just for a change of scenery. Like if you just need to breathe and you want to do this for a couple of years because you're trying to figure something out, okay, you bringing in money, I got you. But if you built your life around certain contractual agreements of how y'all gonna live your life and what's gonna happen, I will abandon you. Like, and I think
Wow.
I should be
And
able
that's
to
why we have to
abandon
have this
you.
discussion ahead of time. We need to know these
That's
things
what I'm
ahead of
saying.
time.
Like, you need to talk. That's what I'm saying because, like
And
everything Mrs. Sigma Uno said, that is just A1 money for me. Like, you have to talk it out. Like, shoot, to the point where do you feel some type of way about me leaving this here and doing that? Because I'm not gonna divorce nobody off no petty stuff. Like, oh, you leave your drawers around. I will figure that out in the dating stage if you nasty. I will go to your house in the dating stage and see if you're a disgusting human that I do not want to live with. You see, or be around or date for that matter. So, but that in that dating period, looking out for things that you would and would not tolerate, that's a part of my own boundaries and how I operate. But once you do get into that covenant, like, bruh, if something drastic happens, it better be because you got into an accident and can't move. I take care of paraplegic. If you cheat, I'm cooking you that special dinner. I'm not playing, bro. Like, don't play with me.
All right.
Like, I
So
will abandon you.
getting getting back to the topic of husband material, what are some things that you women feel that a man is a man's responsibility?
well,
Yeah,
that
you still.
has completely changed.
It's changed.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't believe in like gender roles, but I'm asking. So, is there anything that you feel is a man's responsibility when it comes to a relation, comes to being married?
I believe in gender roles, but I think that gender roles are flexible. Like, I don't believe in hardcore gender roles, but if I'm somewhere and you see like, something crazy starting to happen and you my
Mhm.
man and you're not paying attention, I'm not safe with you. Like that's a no for me. So I believe in certain things when it comes to gender roles, but like for example, the man being the provider of the house. Oh my gosh, no. I went to school too long. If you ask me to sit at home, I'm gonna fight you and your mama. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not doing it. I'm not unless we can figure out a way I can make money and do what I want at home. No, I can't do it, bro. So like but things like that and then men not being able to express themselves or like in relationships. I that's a thing in real life that is so disgusting, and I don't believe in that. Like anything that a man wants to do, as long as it's not hurting another person,
Mhm.
I feel like it's okay. But if you're my man, I'm literally with you so I can be like a la 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 girl and not have to focus so hard on protecting myself and worrying about all the time what's happening and having 500 escape plans. So in that aspect, you need to be my protector. But I know you men realistically cannot protect women all the time. So that's what the masculine tool's for. But if you're my man, I do think you need to consider things like that. But that's just me. I'm not married, so
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. That's something that I try and do, but this is not about me. This is hearing y'all opinions. Who wants to go first?
Right.
Jade, Mrs. Sigma Uno,
Right.
Dolly.
Right,
I'm
right,
gonna be
right.
all the way off when we go out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't even know where we be going. I just be like, yup. You said what? Get in the car? Mm-hmm.
Be that deer. What headlight?
Yeah, what headlights? I don't even know what you're talking
This is
about.
my good side.
We said we have how many lefts and how many rights? I don't even know. Listen.
So is it based off of what Queenie just said? Is it safe to say that one of the things that a husband material, one of the criteria for husband material is being able to make his woman feel safe?
Absolutely.
But it's
But
also
it's
vice versa.
deeper than
Yeah, yeah, because there's some things he can't handle that I got you. You can't hit a
I'm not.
woman.
I don't even think I want to have a follow up to that response right there.
But I think for me, the safety is in two different aspects. Not safety just when we go out and you got my back. I mean safety in the sense of when we're at home, like, can I be myself with you? You know what I'm saying? Like safe in that way. Can I give you my heart and be safe? Can I express myself with you and feel safe? Because if for me personally, if I don't feel safe in that manner, then we have a problem.
All right.
See, but that comes from those conversations that you had prior to.
Mm-hmm.
Some conversations you need to have prior to in order to know if you're going to have that comfortability later. Now, if we switch up, you know what I'm saying, then we got a problem. But if we just get to a certain point of our relationship and all of a sudden I'm trying to have a conversation with you and I don't feel safe, that there's a disconnect, meaning some conversations weren't had that should have been had before, right? So me and Mr. Sigma Uner are literally polar opposites. He is quiet, he is meek, he is shy. I can go up into a room and talk to anybody without an issue. They won't know if I like them or not. We'll have a conversation, no problem, right? When it comes to us conversing, it's a no holds barred. If it's going to be a touchy subject that you don't know how it's going to be received, one or two things got to happen. You better write me a letter or you better leave me a voicemail. For real. If you know I'm going to need some time, you think I'm going to need some time to absorb what you're fixing to say to me, you better leave me a voicemail or write me a letter. I prefer that you read me a voicemail because if you use all caps in a letter, I'm going to think you're yelling. So we're going to have some problems. So don't send it in a text message. I'm going to need you to communicate in one of those two ways. You know what I'm saying? Text messages, no. And actual written, don't type me no email. I'm going to need you to sit down and write me a letter.
What was it, Aaliyah? I'm writing you a 10-page letter.
4 pages.
Oh no. See the way that me and your daughter are, we got like 10-page letters because I guess some people be holding stuff for a while, so it's got some length to it and it's front and back. But with that, we got Mr. Impossible. He said, I want to say this because if there's any men watching this, I definitely agree with what he's saying. We must take our natural role, men, and going off of what you're saying right there for making the women feel protected. I feel like men are supposed to make women feel protected.
You can't.
Hold on, we're gonna pause real quick. We're gonna pause real quick because I gotta give him a shout out. We're gonna come right back to that. So with that, check out Mr. Impossible's podcast as well. He's got Talk That Crap. Bro man goes into a lot of spiritual and esoteric knowledge. Now with that, I'm gonna go ahead and unpause and tell Mr. Impossible jump on TikTok and share the live. I'm gonna continue back now to getting a mouthful from Mr. Sigma Uno. Here we go.
I beg your pardon. It's not a mouthful. It's just stating the facts. You can't say natural role anymore. Some men's natural role is not the role intended by what was written in the book. Okay.
Mhm.
Their natural role is what they have seen. They can only reproject what they've seen. If they didn't see it, and here's the thing, I can't necessarily say that either. If they didn't have that role in their life, but they know what they've missed,
Yes.
you will find that they kind of fill in those gaps based on what they know they missed in life and how they felt they should have had certain things, right? Or how their mom struggled, and how if somebody was there with their mom, they kind of fill in those roles, which is kind of wrong. Nothing irks my soul more than a woman who turns their son into their little boyfriend.
Who?
Ooh, Jesus, be offended.
Hold on. Let me ask real quick. What does that look like for those who may never have really or may see it often but don't understand the term? What does that look like? Turning their son into their boyfriend. What does that look like?
Ooh, there's a couple of things that come to mind that I can't share at the immediate moment. But
It's like you
your
kind of
son
have to
is your
see
son.
it. Like you can see it and tell,
There's certain you
right?
can have a conversation with your child, but if you on the phone with your child, y'all shouldn't be kikiing like you his little friend. You're not his little friend. You his mama. You don't buy him silk boxers and robes for his birthday. There's stuff you just don't do it. You don't.
I died. I couldn't die.
You just you don't do it. And I'm saying it
Wait,
because I've
wait.
seen it.
What's wrong with silk boxers and robes?
Your
I don't
mama bought you
understand.
a silk robe and silk boxers, and y'all running around the house together, kikiing.
Oh, not running around the house together, kikiing. I just was the silk boxers part. That's
That's
all I was
fine.
like. What's
The
wrong with the
girly
robe and
Mia
the boxers?
girls. Okay.
Wherever those are sold and he chooses those for himself, then by all means, let him choose those for
Oh, okay.
himself.
Yeah.
You ask his mama,
That's
no.
inappropriate.
After
Yeah.
a certain
Okay.
point, your son, your daughter, you shouldn't know if they're wearing thongs or tidy whities. At a certain
Yeah.
point, you shouldn't know. There's a certain point, there's a separation. Okay?
Thank you, girly Mia.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jesus.
I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, to paint the
He's
picture.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like,
You're taking him to see Transformers or whatever is out that's age appropriate for your son that day. You're not taking him to go see The Notebook, and you're not taking him to go see.
Y'all not going to watch Magic Mike together.
Yeah,
Bruh.
together. I mean,
It's not.
what? Who is doing that?
Don't ask questions. I can't tell you.
People do that?
Like,
All right.
what?
Rolling it back to what you were saying, Mr. Sigmuno. We gave the example. Let's continue with the original train of thought that you had.
So, roll it back.
She's so
So-
disturbed right now.
I am.
I am.
This is
So
what? People
Lord,
do these
I am
things?
stuck up and bougie. I have made it to this point in my life without having to take out the garbage myself. Okay. I had all brothers growing up. That was their job, right? It had to be done. But also in our home where I grew up with my mother, there was no actual male there, right? There were siblings, but there was no actual male there. I had my grandparents and how their life was set up, but that marriage was one of those first set of marriages that we got to pick who we were going to marry because their parents were slaves. They kind of got put together, but they was married forever. They died at 104, 108, and they were married the whole time, had 10, 12 children, right? So I got to see how the negotiation portion with my great grandparents not having had conversation or having had chose each other and making concessions to live a life together and raise children together and all of that, right? You could see that they were two separate individuals sharing a life. They had certain concessions that they had to make, and this is what we're gonna do. So we might as well go with it, right? And then the ones that chose each other that didn't quite have the example of a loving relationship per se, but still produced 5 children, lived together, were together until death did them part. All of those wonderful things, right? So the roles were very different between my great-grandparents and my grandparents. My great-grandmother was the traditional cook, got the kids together, all of that. He didn't even have to know their names for all intents and purposes because she was the primary parent with regards to the kids. They had a dad when it came to discipline and things like that. But other than that, he worked. They both worked. You know what I'm saying? But theirs was a traditional role gender marriage. My grandparents, both of them worked at one point in time, but initially just my grandfather worked. My grandmother stayed at home because he was in the military, right? So it was that dynamic. And then later on in life, graduated to her working, but the kids were a little bit older. So my grandfather did a lot of the cooking, and my grandmother did, and he did the cooking, the grocery shopping, things of that nature. He still held a full-time job. He was still the primary provider, but my grandmother got to go to work basically for bingo money. She got to go bingo money and shoe money. She lived at Nordstrom's, Frederick Nelson's, and BJ's Bingo, right? So they had those things, and they had those lines drawn in their relationship where if something was to happen, granted, and the bail for the son was more than grandpa had in his savings or whatever, grandma would kick in, but trust and believe, she getting it back. That's one. 2, they both going after this kid because why are we bailing you out of jail? Concessions have to be made, right? As far as my first marriage, that was my fault. That was my fault because you cannot want more for somebody than what they want for themselves. You can see the potential in a person. You can see where you could build with this person. But if this person ain't willing to pick up a hammer, then it's pointless. It's pointless because they're going to make edits to your plan and you ain't even pitching in. How you going to make edits to my plan and you're not even with? Look, I'm going to need you to have several seats. In fact, you know what? This was my fault. My bad, my fault. I did this. We ain't gonna blame you for that. I did this. Cool. You don't want this for you, or you want this for you, but you want me to do all the work? Bless your heart. I'm gonna let you figure that out with somebody else because I got plans. Okay. And we move on. Right. So now here we are. God bless Mr. Sigmund and those so little hard because I come from a primarily single mother providing everything role, being both mom and whatever is missing at that time role to now this man, bless his heart, retired me, right? So remember how Queenie was saying, if you don't have something for me to do, if we ain't making money, this ain't making sense. All of this, see, we in the vacation part of my retirement, and I'm tired of vacationing. So he's feeling that adjustment. Our roles haven't changed any. My role hasn't changed any. His role hasn't changed any. I'm just getting a little bit more irritating. So I'm trying to wait till I'm irritating enough for him to make me do something else. I've stepped out there and I've started doing other things, you know, like out and out, right? But girl, I'm about to get on his last nerve.
Oh goodness.
We've come to consistency. We had a plan, right? So we're right in line with the plan. Things are taking longer than anticipated, but the plan is still the plan. And so when you go into relationships with that, and you know the nature of the person,
yes,
not necessarily their past, because the reality of the situation is you can't heal another person from their past. But when you recognize that something is they're dealing with something or they're struggling with something and you know it's from their past, to make that concession to either lead them in the direction to find, or basically you can't tell them where to go, but if you can gentle lead them to their place of healing, gentle lead them into resources, gentle lead them into, I don't know, I read this book, this might be a good book for you to read. Just gentle lead them into their own healing, because you can't heal for them. But if you recognize that it's something that they're struggling with,
Mm-hmm.
and you recognize exactly what it is, a lot of men I've noticed don't receive that they have a issue or a problem. So if you're not making it an issue or a problem, and you just steer in the manner in which it,
Oh
there's a
gosh.
number of examples we could use for that. But we're
Dark
going to use
psychology.
for that.
With that, I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna say hi, Edwana. Let me ask her. Let me ask her this question, because I feel like I know where you're going, Mom. It won't let me bring her up.
Hey, Auntie.
Hi, darling. How
Why
are
won't you get in the
you?
big one? You know what? Hey,
Can you
Edwana.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
You're taking over the screen now. Just because of the hi. So
Hi.
with it, the main topic is, what is husband material? What does husband material mean to you?
Meaning what I look for in my husband, or
What
what I
what
think the man should be as a husband?
what is general? This is generalized that you feel that husbands should do.
Oh, what they should do.
Yes, like what is husband material? What do you feel that are qualities that is required out of a husband?
Spiritual, protective, um, a leader, take control type. Not controlling, but take control.
Okay. Got anything else?
I'm just thinking. Just
you
thinking.
got thrown on the spot. You like
Yeah. I was just coming in because I finished up everything I had to do, and I was
there
like,
we
let
go.
me check this out. So yes, you kind of put me
Hey,
on the spot.
every Saturday we in here, and I mean today is just ladies only, so
Okay.
you got
Yes.
that. But every Saturday at the same time we in here, we having a good conversation with good people and always a good vibe. We don't do any
Awesome.
drama. If there's drama that arises, we remove that individual. But I mean, I've gotten really good at building a little community that I have of emotionally intelligent individuals, to where we're able to listen and have conversations, and with it we all are seeking each other's viewpoints and able to listen with open ears. So I mean, it's real nice. It's real nice.
Awesome. Awesome. But yeah, like I said, I look for, or I I say a husband should be protective of the spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they should they should be spiritual, be able to lead the household.
Okay.
Um, mm, like I said, take control. Pretty much, take control, and I don't mean it in a way of controlling the spouse,
Mm-hmm.
but to take control and be able to lead the household. Pretty much, same thing. So,
So with it, my question there for the take control, give it an example of a situation to where you feel like the man should step in and take control. Because I don't want anybody to get like the wrong idea where they're just like thinking like we're living in a very lustful time. I don't want them to be thinking like some 50 Shades of Grey type thing where it's like no, it's a lot more than that.
Not too much on 50 Shades of
Anything
Grey
wrong
though.
with
I'm not
right.
saying I'm not saying there's anything bad with it. I'm saying I don't want them to think like a man's the idea of a husband taking control is in the bedroom. There's other ways of taking control, and I'm sure that's what she's hitting at. But
Yeah.
that's why I said that we live in a very lustful time where I know a lot of individuals may think something like that. It's like no, that's not what we're talking about.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
beneficial,
No.
but that's not
No.
what we're talking about.
No. Meaning the when I say take control, You have some men in today's time that cannot lead, cannot take control of the household. The woman has to take control of the household. It's
Mm.
like they. I'm trying. What is the best way to say it? I don't want to wuss as a husband.
I don't want
Okay. So when you say taking
Mhm.
control, it's not necessarily of like a financial thing or washing the dishes, taking the trash out, cutting the grass.
Oh no, he
Are
gonna take the
those
trash.
some
He gonna
things?
cut the grass. He gonna cut the grass and he gonna take the trash out. I mean, I'll take care of the house. But yeah, he gonna cut the grass. He gonna take the trash out. All that. I ain't touching all of that. Now, and
I
that
mean, he might not know how to turn on the dishwasher, but
right,
I don't need to go to Jiffy Lube. And if we both sitting in the car, I ain't pumping no gas.
right,
And
right. Honestly, I
so what's
had
it
to
look
pump
like?
gas.
You a man
I
sitting in the passenger seat of the car, and your woman's out there pumping gas. How do you
no,
feel about that? Really?
Not
ain't
gonna lie, we'll
happening.
be talking about it at the gas station.
Yeah,
We,
I
yeah,
get
we
mad about seeing that
Fucking
too.
gas, I'm not gonna lie.
but
I
Not gonna lie.
honestly, it's been a year. I had to pump gas, and he was in the car. That was about a year ago. He had surgery. That was the only
see, that's
reason.
different.
Hmm.
That was the
That's
only
different.
reason. And I had to make him sit down because I had literally, we had just left the hospital. We was on the
Hmm.
way home and I forgot to get gas going. So coming back, I had to stop and get gas. And he's sick, just had surgery, and I'm bringing him home and he's still trying to pump gas. No, we're not doing that. But literally, since then, the first time I pumped gas was just the other day, and it was only because I was by myself. I took the second car instead of taking my regular car, and it was no gas in the second car,
Okay.
and he wasn't there to pump it. So, but yeah, but no, I look for the man to lead. That's all. It's just I look for him to lead, and you have men today. I don't know if it's a generational thing, but they don't know how to lead. They don't know how to lead, and the woman has to step in and pretty much do everything, and then I ain't gonna say gaslight, but sugarcoat things to let the man think that they're leading.
See, that's where
Yeah.
mama's little boyfriend, that's
Yeah.
mama's little boyfriend. Because mama does everything, right? So he's used to
Right.
mama doing
Yeah.
everything. And he's not responsible
Exactly.
for anything. That's
Exactly.
mama's little boyfriend. That's where that came from.
Exactly.
Mama's little
And then
boyfriend sits in the car while mama's pumping gas. That's
right.
mama's little boyfriend.
Right.
When
And
we was
then you're
looking for
as a
examples and I
spouse,
couldn't think of none, that's mama's little boyfriend because he's
as a
used to mama doing
spouse,
everything. So he believes that's mom's responsibility or the woman's responsibility to do all those things. Oh no,
right.
that's the devil. They let him use you.
All right. Finish your thought, Edmana.
And then no, as a spouse, when you have, I think she said mama's little boyfriend, but
Yeah.
as a spouse, then you're doing everything and letting him think that he actually came up with the ideal and is putting you're in a leading position, but you're letting him think he's there. And that, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Can I add to that?
See,
Impossible's like, damn.
see, I feel like I don't really think I want a like the common idea of what a leader is because I'm more looking I want more of a partner because realistically I mean if to put it as an illustration, I want a partner that is also a guard dog. Does that make sense? Because I know that with everything that's going on in the world,
Yes.
I don't necessarily know if like of course I would match my own. Like I'm not going to be with somebody that's less intelligent than me or less emotionally aware than I am.
Hmm.
And in if it is a situation where I am in that, if they're willing to grow through it, then okay, then maybe because everybody y'all are human, so but but I don't necessarily think that I want a leader because when you give that caveat of leader and
Said
people
y'all are
don't
human.
understand it, yeah, you heard me. When you give that caveat of leader, and like Miss Edwana was saying, like a lot of men don't understand that. Like I think that you should just kind of get in where you fit in, but you communicate about the guidelines. Like, if there's something going on and I have to take out the trash, then I'll do it, but I don't intend to any other time.
We will not be making it
But that
happen.
I feel, you say what?
We will not be making a habit of that.
You will not be making it happen. You just gonna let stuff sit in the house. If he going on a business trip, who taking out the trash, ma'am?
If he's going on a business trip, why do we have trash? I get to go eat where I want to eat. I ain't got to cook.
I cannot.
Hey, that's not.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Jade, where you at? There you are. Oh, actually, no, Dolly. You had something you wanted to add on, right?
Well, yeah. So what I wanted to say, because I think Auntie Edwana, excuse me, was talking about the generation, and I was like, I will say this. This is something that I have observed, and then some might piss some people off, but they'll be okay. What I have learned in regards to this generation of the male species is that a lot of them have grown up in a one-parent household without a father. And so what that has done is a lot of the male species are incapable of being a man because they were not seen or did not see a man in their household. So that model of a male figure was not in their home, which they were allowed to see how a man is supposed to be, how a husband is supposed to act towards the wife, how a man is supposed to be a father. So now what we're seeing is, as Mrs. Sigma Una says so beautifully, the boyfriend, the mommy boyfriend. What they're seeing as far as being a male or a husband is what they see on TV or what they think we want based upon what they see on TV, which is not reality. It's not reality. It's fictional. And so what the issues that we are having as the woman is that we have no choice but to step up and take that lead and be mommy, be wife, and fill in all these other gaps, run the household, work a full-time job, and then the man is going to work, coming home, sit on the couch. They don't know
No,
what to do.
no, he's not sitting on the couch.
It's been like that for, like, as a whole generalized demographic society, even not just our demographic. It's been like that. Women have also taken up the majority of the load, even within the home, if men were present and working, if there was a father figure. And that's why so many of the men who actually did have a father, they would think that, oh, I don't need to worry about tending to my kids or spending time with my kids. And they don't know their child's third grade math teacher. They don't know their child's favorite activity. Because, like how Miss Dolly was saying, there was a lot of fathers that weren't in the home, but even the fathers that were in the home, they weren't good examples. The only good examples they really were getting some money, making sure the bills were paid. They didn't and that's why, more or less, like I was saying, that I didn't want a leader, because if you come with this traditional idea, like, I'm gonna stroke your ego, baby, because you're mine, I'm gonna make you feel good. But if you can't come into this understanding that it has to be an egalitarian effort, we're not gonna work. Because I've always taken out the trash. I've always changed the tires. I've always changed the oil. I've always done all of these things. And so if you're able to allow me to sit in my femininity and stuff like that, that is awesome. But it's not going to change the foundation of who I am as a person. It's just not. Because if something happens to you, I got to be able to pick up and go, because you're my man. So I don't necessarily want a, like you just lead me, like, but you say, girl, come on, okay, I'm coming. But just like me, but the fruitlessness inside of, like, that is my dream, to just be able to sit and be in that and be in a situation to where I can trust somebody being like, oh, just jump. Because to me, and you don't have a full plan, not concepts of a plan, but a full plan, who the fuck you think you're talking to, bro? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, that
Mhm.
wouldn't work for me. But even I didn't have a father in the home either. All I saw of a woman is doing everything. You see what I'm saying? Like, we
Yeah.
had to fund together for my mother to rest. So even the fathers that were in the home, it was a poor example of what being a good man is. Like, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's why I said we need to go into this with a plan, especially if he didn't have a role model in the home. It's a conversation, right? We said we want these things. This is how these things are going to pan out, right? It might be 50-50. It might be 75-25. If I don't have the 100, you have to fill in the gap, right? That's kind of how relationships work. They're supposed to go 100-100, not 50-50. But if I'm running at 50%, are you going to be able to cover me? Those are conversations that need to
Hmm.
be had. If we're going to have children, um, what kind of role, how do you see yourself as a father? It's not like, hey, do you want kids? Okay, he can say, yeah, I want kids. Of course he wants kids. He wants a legacy. He wants somebody to have his name. You know what I'm saying? But what is your role? If you want kids, what is you as a father look like? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? If you think you as a father is just you
Welcome in
making a
when love heal
donation,
elites. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
making a donation and waving at the kid every now and again, that's not going to work out, right? Because your mom was a single parent. You know what it felt like to not have a dad around. So you think you just being in the house is going to suffice? Like she
Mhm.
said, you don't know his third grade teacher.
Yeah.
You don't know that. That's how you find out if that's going to be a person that you're going to procreate with, be in a relationship, build something with. Because if their idea is I'm just going to make a donation and you got the rest, right? No, then that means we're not having children because that's not how
Yeah.
it's going to work.
That's
And
good.
how I go with me, I'm gonna get it down in a contract. Like Miss Sigma Uno said, marriage and business. I'm gonna get that bit down in the contract. If I tabulate 365 days of you not being a good parent, I'm abandoning your ass. And I'm gonna sue you. And I'm
No,
gonna
Oh my
sue
God.
no,
you.
you,
I'm
Whew.
gonna sue
no.
you, bro. If you can go a whole year and you not doing any of your, because things happen. So I understand, like she said, you got to pick up for your partner. But if I can tabulate a full year's worth of time of you not fulfilling your role as a father, like that you told me you would be, I'm gonna
Mhm.
abandon you and sue
See,
you
if
for
he's
emotional
gone a year and
damage.
you ain't said nothing, that's on you, not necessarily totally on him. You got to hold that
How?
person accountable. You're in a partnership. You got to hold your
Well,
partner
no, no,
accountable. If
absolutely, absolutely. I intend to hold my partner accountable.
this
Oh, I'm not the type of person where I'm just gonna let it slide. I'm gonna be like,
between now,
dang,
this
you were
is between
supposed to come to the recital. You didn't come to the recital, okay? And I understand something happened, but that's one.
Okay.
Okay. You know we got a
you're gonna have to
PTA
take.
meeting, okay?
This is your
We
written
got
warning.
five. Huh? That's what I'm saying. Like that, you're going to get a written warning. Effectively, you getting 364 written warnings before termination.
Oh my
Doing
God.
you better than most jobs. Jobs give you three
You,
written warnings and you gone.
Hey,
I'm giving you
Queenie, Queenie,
This is
365.
Queenie, Queenie.
contractual.
I want to say this real quick. We can have a whole episode on that, so we're going to save that one. Okay.
Like,
Edwana,
bruh.
Edwana, I want to ask, what do you have to add? Because you got your hand like this, like you thinking. I know you observing, but I feel like you have something to say. You just waiting for waiting for it to get done.
Ah, wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Hey, Win Love Hill Elite. Oh, do me a favor. I want to hear your opinion on what husband material is. If you can't type that into the chat for me, and it'll say it over the intercom. So you got some time. Go ahead and clickety clack clack with your fingers.
Clickety clack clack. Okay.
Yeah, it's on TikTok. So she's either on her phone or she's literally typing, one or the other.
Auntie said, "Wow."
I know, right?
Why
Wow.
you saying? Why you say? Wow. What?
Looking like,
What?
wow.
I want to hear the thoughts.
I don't think you want to hear them
No,
thoughts.
you don't.
You don't
I
want to
do.
hear.
No, you
No,
don't.
yes, I do. No, yes, I
No, you
No,
do.
don't.
no, not with that face. I'm telling you, you don't want to hear them thoughts.
So
Mm-mm.
this is
Them,
my
them the
aunt.
face.
Well, I mean, no, Queenie can handle it, and honestly, this
Yeah,
might
I'm the
be
type of person like I want to hear like
yeah.
I ask my friends about my bad behavior. Like I want to know about myself because realistically I can smell my own farts, but they don't smell as bad to me as they do other people. You see what I'm saying? And there are certain aspects about myself like I don't care what you say. That's your opinion in your life and certain things I'm gonna
Being
stand on.
married.
But with people that have experience not only in life but the topic at hand, I think it's very important. Even if you were to attempt to admonish me about something, I still would
Mhm.
want to hear it.
And I that's one thing that I respect about you. I love that. So, Auntie, go ahead, let her know.
Yeah,
No,
let me.
Miss Queenie, you're not married, correct?
No, no, ma'am.
That's why you're saying the things that you're saying. Cause it don't work
Exactly.
like that. I'm 11 years in. It don't
Shit,
work like that.
shit, it will for me.
If it worked like that, I wouldn't be 11 years in. Honestly, my husband would have left me a long time ago.
Oh, not you being the problem. Not you being the
Sometimes you
problem.
are the problem.
Mm.
So
Not you
no,
being the
it
problem.
don't. It don't. It's you can say
You got own
it's
it.
honestly it's very easy to say 1 year if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, I'm out. It that you got to think about your vows. Why did you get married? What why are you in this relationship? You married this person for a reason. You married him. It's easy for a person to say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. But when you get into that situation, things change. You can't, it's not going to be exactly what you have in writing. So say you do this contract, and I know this is
Hmm.
a little different than what we were talking about, but if you do this contract and he's supposed to show up to certain number of PTA meetings, certain number of football games or baseball games, whatever.
Hmm.
But yet in that year, something changes and he can't fulfill that contract. You're
Hmm.
just out the door. You
Well,
giving
no,
him his
because
money to
there are other aspects of being a parent that can be fulfilled. That what is what I meant, like was included in that contractual obligation. Like when I said PTA meetings and recitals and stuff like that, those really were just like tangible right there examples. But for
yeah.
example, just being a present parent, because the majority of males on the planet are not present parents. They, if it's not even physically, not emotionally or mentally present parents, they do not know things about their children. They don't know how their children are feeling. They don't know I mean, who their pediatrician is. There are men who don't know their kids' birthdays. And it's a majority of men who don't know these very simple things. And that's what I mean by not showing up as a parent. And if you say, I'm the type of person, well, baby, I got bad memory. So, I might need an alarm to let me know that our anniversary coming up. And that is fine because you told me you had that problem. And I say, I agreed to still participate with you. So if I know that that's a thing, I'm going to remind you because that's something I agreed to do. But like, that communication effort. But I didn't mean just like, okay, this is number one. You didn't turn off the light like because in the contract, we're trying to save on the light bill. Like, no, I didn't mean petty shit like that. Like I didn't mean petty little stuff like that. No, but I mean just being showing up as a parent because I don't I mean, I don't know you all's experiences, but I have never seen relationships on a general scale like marriages where men were just so present. Like it's becoming a new thing that men are being more present because of the wave of emotional growth. But even that's a small amount of males. So it's just that's what I mean more or less by that contractual obligation. Like you want to have children, okay? And children are not your legacy. They're not your legacy. You have to create your legacy. Your children, individuals have their own legacies. But I know a lot of people like to say that their children are your children are not your legacy. What you do is your legacy. But being involved and being there as a parent and how you show up. bringing home a check and coming here and sitting on your game, and then you got the audacity to not even want to play with me because you want to play with your homeboys or something. Like you're not fulfilling your duties as a father and as a husband. Like you're just because men will get into marriages and they drift into stuff like that. They'll drift into that type of, okay, I'm separated, I'm having my own life. Like, yeah, I got my wife, I know she gonna be there, so now you're not even gonna come do nothing with me. We going LARPing, bro. So put on the fucking tunic and put your little outfit on so we can go play swords outside, because you know I like to do stuff like this. But men, and even sometimes women, because your lives become so busy and you have kids, you stop tending to each other, and then you stop tending to your kids appropriately. And I don't want that. I will abandon you and sue you. Because you wasted my time.
So
But
with
I
it,
think that goes back to what Miss Sigma Una was saying as far as having those premarital conversations. If you
Mhm.
have those premarital conversations and you genuinely get to know somebody, then you can set those expectations versus getting in a relationship and then having unrealistic expectations. Because
And
those,
then you'll win in court easier. You're winning court easier.
oh
Hmm.
my God. I'm just saying, like, you have to set those standards.
so with it, I wanna go ahead and roll into the closing comments because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I don't know what anybody may have to do. So with that, I'm gonna have Dolly go and hit her closing comments, and then we're gonna go down the line. Okay?
Put me on the spot, bro.
Yeah, you already on the camera, so I was like, let's go start with you. What would you like to tell?
Usually you give us a prompt for the
listening?
closing comments.
Well, I had
You
dropped it down there, and I was like, all right, cool. Nobody sees it, I guess. So let me go ahead and just interrupt.
We was engaging in dialogue. We weren't paying
I understand, but also at the same time, I'm not at home, and my
you're right.
laptop battery is running a little low, so I'm not trying to have it cut off on us as well.
You got to pass tonight.
see,
It's
and that's when you relay effective communication. Y'all, can we wrap up? My computer battery is dying. I see the type of person you is.
I'm trying to avoid this back and back conflict, so I'm trying to go ahead and get the closing comments going.
All right, so closing comments.
Mm, mm.
I think for me, we had a really good conversation. I got to see different perspectives on what a husband should be or what a woman expects for a husband to be. But I think the most important thing, and I was going to say this, I'm going to say anyway. I think the most important thing is to recognize that mentally we all evolve and we change every 7 years. And so you may get with somebody and they may be one person when you first get with them, but just keep in mind that in 7 years, things are going to change. We're going to change. The male is going to change. Some people may agree with me what I'm finna say, and some may not. Naturally, women are more advanced mentally than men are. So we think about things differently and we process things differently. So when we're dealing with men, we have to take that into account as well, just because of the way that we're wired. But ultimately, looking at marriage as a covenant and not a contract is vital. Then we won't have such a high divorce rate.
No, just more cooked meals.
Oh my god!
What?
No,
More cooked.
I don't cook like that no more. Stop it.
So with it, I'm gonna go ahead and roll into Edwana.
She laughing.
That's it.
Nothing. I have nothing.
What would you say to any
Nothing.
any men who are thinking about marriage?
Come on, Whitney Houston.
Oh, Whitney Houston.
If the man is thinking about marrying, don't sign no contracts.
Oh Lord.
I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Queenie,
Marriage license.
Queenie. What? Go ahead, hit your closing comments, love.
It is everywhere. Marriage certificate is a legally binding contract, so
Oh
you're
my
gonna sign one
God.
anyway. And I would like this. Honestly, was a great conversation. I enjoyed it. There are things that I did actually learn that I am grateful for. And a lot in what Mrs. Sigma Uno said. Um, about and then the people changing 7 years. What Dolly said that is something that I'd heard, but I didn't even think about it in applying to like, oh shit, I'm finna be with this person for the rest of my life. So thank you for bringing that up to me. And just everything that everybody said in different perspectives that I could get, I really appreciate it because I'm not married and some of the things y'all expect, I probably won't ever be. Y'all talking about, but but yeah, I enjoyed it. That's it.
Jade.
Oh, yay. What was the question? The closing statement. Your husband
Closing comments.
should be your partner, your best friend, someplace you feel relaxed. Your husband should be home, wherever that home is. That should be your other person. That should be your best friend. That's gonna get some slack too, because people like to keep their best friend separate. But your significant other should be your best friend. He's my best friend. I'll be telling him all the time. Whatever your partnership is going to look like should be discussed beforehand. It should be discussed before the contract is signed with blood and jumping over the broom, whatever your ceremony is. Before any of that happens, there should be conversations about expectations.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. Mrs. Sigma Uno.
I'm kind of entertained because I just saw myself before I was married in
Oh
Queen.
gosh.
And for real, when I say she's my spirit animal, I literally mean it. We had the same train of thought. And what I'm going to say is when you find a person that you're willing to get into that partnership with, you will find that the things that you were sticking points or were solid no-goes become a little bit more flexible. You become a little bit more flexible because you're going to have to bend and he's going to have to bend. We're not talking about bend to break. We're just talking about making concessions. Concessions will be made. I think that in the long run, when people are open and honest and communicate what their wants and their desires and their feelings are openly, and they are comfortable doing that with that person, that makes communication and partnerships so much more easy to come together, to deal with, to work through. Yes, things change over 7 years. The human body changes almost daily. Men get old, women go through menopause, all kinds of things happen that should be somewhat discussed. If I get Alzheimer's, you're going to put me in a home. By all means, these things need to be discussed because they have to be prepared for. Just make sure that you're open and honest and can communicate with the person. Because if you can't be honest about how you're feeling with your partner, how honest is and open is your partner communicating what they feel with you? If you can't have that, and if you don't have that, then you truly do not have a partnership, no matter what type of paper you sign, whether it be the broom, the marriage certificate, an actual contract. All of those things are very important.
Surely.
I agree. They are very important.
Oh shit, we all.
Now, what's that?
And then there was silence.
All right.
We lost him.
Oh no.
Did he
Oh,
freeze?
He dropped
did he
off.
actually die?
Did he actually die?
He actually died.
No, did it actually it, y'all, it, because remember he said his computer was dying.
Said his computer was dying. I think he died.
Yeah, so it's like it actually finally died. Yeah.
Okay.
He should have communicated that. Y'all talk to him. Talk to him.
No,
See, that's where that communication comes in. It should have came in before we hit 5% because we got a lot of things running to make this happen.
yeah.
It should have happened at maybe 15.
It's all good. And it's stop. His laptop battery died.
Oh, here you come.
Battery ran.
There he is.
Battery.
Yeah, babe, when you get a chance, please check your phone.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it out of the way because it was.
Yeah, I messaged you. But all right, cool. With that, I found a way to come back on, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in. I appreciate y'all. All right.
All right. Good night.
Annyeong.
Annyeong.
Bye. Hi, babies.
Time moves fast, in this dance we call the past. Mental health, a fragile thread, but we'll find strength. Let love spread, life's a climb. Just take a step, rise above, find your breath.